Okay, so as we continue on with the Mishnah, it had then listed three kings and four commoners who do not have a portion in the Olam Haba, in the world to come. And it mentions among the kings Yeravam, Achav, Umenashe. Those are the three kings who lost their portion in the world to come. And the four commoners were Bilam, Doeg, Achisofel, and Gehazi. So the first point I'd like to share with you, and I believe there's some solid evidence to support this idea based on the Rimilunil as well as the Chamra V'Chayi, is that if the Mishnah already told us the categories of the people who don't have a portion in Olam Haba, why does it now find it necessary to give us an example of individuals who lost their portion in Olam Haba? I got the categories. I can go figure out for myself who fits in those categories and who doesn't. Why does the Mishnah have to list names? And I believe the answer is, there's a famous saying that they say over from Rav Chaim Brisker, that Nebuch and Apikoris is Oich and Apikoris. That someone who's a non-believer, simply because he doesn't know any better, also falls into the halachic category of an apikoros, of a non-believer. And I want to suggest that this Mishnah is really disagreeing with Reb Chaim. That when the Mishnah points out who are the people who have lost their portion in Olam Haba, it's telling us that these were really great people. You know the rule, the higher they are, the harder they fall. But it's coming to tell you that only people who have the understanding of a Bilam, or a person who has the understanding of a Yeravam, and he is a non-believer, that's a real apikoros. But someone who is just ignorant in Torah and is not learned, and therefore he doesn't believe in God and doesn't believe in Torah, he doesn't qualify as a true apikoros. The Tiferes Yisrael has a very interesting approach to explain the seven people listed in the Mishnah. First of all, earlier in his commentary on the Mishnah, he mentions that there's a whole host of categories. He counts 15 different categories of people who are mentioned elsewhere throughout the Talmud who have lost their portion in Olam Haba, that are all left out of the Mishnah. And he says that the seven people who are mentioned here in our Mishnah are all to be representative of some of the categories that are not explicitly listed in the Mishnah. And he says as follows. First of all, he says that Yeravam lost his portion in Olam Haba because he was someone who was a chote umachti esarabim. He sinned and he led others to stray as well, which is again one of those 15 categories listed elsewhere, not listed explicitly in our Mishnah. Achav, because he was someone who had given himself over to idol worship. Menashe, because he was someone who denied the existence of God. Bilam, because of the fact that he was mired in bestiality and is in the category of a poshea begufo, someone who uses his body to sin. Achisofel, he said, loses his portion in the world to come because he rebelled in the monarchy of David and denied that the monarchy in Israel belonged to the house of David. Doeg lost his portion because he was a person who spoke Lashon Hara. The Gemara explains elsewhere that when Shaul was looking for a person to play the harp in front of him, and Doeg recommended David, but he recommended David in a manner which was really replete with Lashon Hara. And finally, Gehazi lost his portion in Olam Haba because he was a person who spoke very disrespectfully of Torah scholars. So that's the approach of the Tiferes Yisrael. Another possible way of explaining and understanding why each one of these people lost their portion in the world to come is because of all, when it comes to Gehazi, he was a person who was very steeped in immorality. When Elisha Hanavi came to the house of the Isha Hashunamis, and she told her husband that she could tell that with regards to Elisha, Ish Kadosh Hu, he is a holy man. And Chazal tell us that she was pointing out that he is a holy man, but not his attendant. That she sensed that there was something unholy about his attendant. And later on, after her son died, and she fell at Elisha's feet in order to beseech him to do something about the death of her son, Chazal say that Gehazi bent over to push her away, and he intentionally grabbed her by the breasts. So that was Gehazi. When it comes to Doeg, and Gehazi was a tremendous Talmud Chacham, by the way. He was a tremendous Torah scholar. But despite that, his lust got the better of him. There's actually another story that Chazal tell us about Gehazi that we find after Elisha left Gehazi's service, because Elisha put the tsaras of Naaman onto Gehazi. So the students of Elisha complained that his study hall was extremely crowded. And Chazal explain that when Gehazi was Elisha's attendant, he would turn people away from having an opportunity to study at the feet of Elisha. So that was another thing that Gehazi did wrong. Doeg, he was the Rosh of the Sanhedrin. He was one of the greatest Torah scholars of his time. However, despite that, he was extremely jealous of David. And his jealousy of David came from the fact that halacha kimoso b'chol makom, that David HaMelech always seemed to have a knack for arriving at the correct halachic conclusion for any question, which was a skill that Doeg himself did not have. And therefore, Doeg's downfall was his jealousy. And when it comes to Achisophel, in a certain respect, he was like Doeg in terms of the fact that Achisophel had a vision that the monarchy was going to come from him. He didn't realize it was actually going to come from his descendant, who was Bathsheba, but he did everything he could to pursue after the honor of the monarchy, which he felt was due to him. And his pursuit of that honor is what led him to be anti-David. And the Alter of Kelm points out from that we see from all of these stories that there are sometimes you could have a person who is sitting and learning Torah and performing mitzvos, and despite that, he is a complete apikoros, without realizing it and without intending for that to be who he is, because he looks badly on others, especially when it comes to their Torah study. And I was thinking, even though I didn't see anybody who says this explicitly, that this could possibly be attached to the Mishna in Perek Avos, which says, Hakina va'taiva va'kavod motziin es ha'adam min ha'olam. Jealousy, lust, and the pursuit of honor take people out of the world, in this context, meaning the world to come. Because all three of these people lost their portion of the world to come. Doeg because of kina, jealousy. Gechazi because of taiva, because of lust. And finally, Achisofel, because he felt that the honor was coming to him.